Whether gloomy dungeon, untamed forest, or haunted pirate's cove, early adventures of Dungeons & Dragons tended to start player characters out in locations where it made sense to be armed to the teeth, and the further to the teeth you are armed, the better. But modern Dungeons & Dragons games begin in a wider variety of locations. Some of them have you starting out at a children's carnival, or a library. There, it's a little stranger for your player to show up with a battle axe.
Well, I'm off to the children's carnival.
Don't forget your battle axe.
Good point. I wouldn't want to go to the children's carnival without my battle axe.
Right? Like, why should your character bring a butcher's knife or a battle axe to the library, or to a children's carnival? Well, here are 6 reasons why your player characters might be armed to the teeth despite being at a relatively peaceful event or location, such as a library, or a wedding, or a fancy dinner party, or a children's carnival. Number 6. They are on their way to, or from, another adventure. Assuming that your player characters are career adventurers, as in adventurers for life, it could well be the case that your player characters are armed because they just finished another adventure, or they're just thinking of starting a different one. Even at first level, this makes sense. Every player character, after all, has a background, such as a folk hero, an entertainer, an acolyte, an archaeologist, or other such profession, and the adventure that they are coming from could be that one which established their background. Maybe your player characters just finished saving a local farmhouse from a band of goblins, or maybe they think they're on their way to do that very thing when they encounter the peaceful location in which the adventure really takes place. Either way, it would make sense that they had their weapons and their armor on them. Number 5. They're vagabonds. Many player characters, to put it bluntly, are homeless. They don't live anywhere, they don't have a place to store their things, and so, as they tramp the road searching for glory and gold, they take whatever they own with them. And that's true no matter where they go. So if they own a weapon at all, or if they own arms at all, of course they're going to be on their person, and that would explain why they brought those things to the library, or to the children's carnival. Number 4. They needed the gear to get to the starting location. It would make sense for your player characters to have to travel to the starting location, even if it's a peaceful place like a library, and it could well be that the journey to the library is treacherous, requiring adventurers' equipment and adventurers' skills. And so that's why, even though they're ending up at a library or a children's carnival, they end up armed to the teeth. Number 3. The adventurers know that, despite the peacefulness of the location, they may face danger. This also makes sense in light of the fact that the player characters are career adventurers. If they are headed to the Witchlight Carnival, for instance, they know that it's not just any ordinary carnival, but one which includes a passage to the Feywild. Or if they're headed to Candlekeep Library, then, they could know that it's not just an ordinary library, and in fact the library is full of magical books, and with them magical dangers. In that case, it would make sense to bring your battle axe to the library. Or children's carnival. Number 2, the player characters are on the job. It could be, despite the fact that it's a children's carnival or a library, that the adventurers have been hired for something that requires weapons and adventurers' equipment. Maybe they're hired as security, that's the easiest and most straightforward thing, but they might also be hired as investigators, or perhaps as inquisitors on behalf of some church or ecclesiastical body. Or maybe they're working for some group of revolutionary brigands, and that they are on the job in the sense that they are ready to infiltrate and undermine. Giving your player characters a job that would require them to have weapons on them is an easy way to explain why they would have a battle axe at a children's carnival or a library. And finally, number 1. The player characters are eccentric or paranoid. Well, we're down to it. We were hoping to find a way for the player characters to be armed to the teeth at a library without having them come across as complete psychopaths. But, having gone over all the other options, maybe what you want is a player character who, well, if not a complete psychopath, is at least a little eccentric. Someone who brings a battle axe wherever they go, and if anyone looks at them funny, they say, "I never part with my battle axe, not after what that owlbear did to my brother." Or perhaps they have an enemy, and that they suspect this enemy is tracking them no matter where they go, even to a library or a children's carnival. And so, out of paranoia of being confronted by their enemy, they bring their weapons with them at all times. This doesn't have to be a bad way to run things, of course. If roleplayed correctly, this sort of paranoia would work very well as a player character's flaw. It could tie into their inability to trust other people, and over the course of a campaign, it could be part of a character arc in which that player character does learn to come to trust other people, and does learn to leave their axe at home when they go to the library. So anyway, there are 6 reasons why your character might bring a battle axe to a children's carnival or a library. They're on their way to or from another adventure, they're vagabonds. The gear is for the journey, the player characters know that there's going to be danger involved, the player characters are on the job, or the player characters are just a little paranoid. Which of these do you think works for you? Or do you have another idea? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, this is just another short video to talk about some role-playing. Thanks very much for watching. Please don't forget to do all the internet things. Please click like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell icon if you want notifications about new content on this channel, which I offer every week. Thanks very much.